Welcome friends to Farm Fresh Designs 59. Today's video is all about cottage core because I had a viewer especially to request this. So let's get started. My first item is a thrifted frame that it was just a older gold frame, and I dry brushed it with white and then I didn't like it. And so I painted it with Waverly Steel Gray because based on the transfer that I'm going to be putting in it, I thought gray would look really good. Now this transfer is made by Redesign with Prima and it's called Bike Rides. So I'm attaching this transfer to actually the cardboard that was behind the original picture. And what I really like about this transfer is you're only seeing the pink and the green and the gold, the gray grain stripes, but really the background looks more like linen and it's really pretty. So it's a little off-white with just speckles of like a light brown. Now, once I got it all put in, then I thought that the gray frame was just a little bit too dark. So I'm just using Dixie Belle white wax to kind of tone it down. And I just brush it on and then I wipe it off and it kind of gets in the little crevices. But I really like this picture. Now my next item is going to be a little side pedestal table that I'm using two different pieces to make it. Now this is a really tall candlestick that I thrifted, and painted it Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint and I sealed it. Now over to the left is just a wood round that I bought at Hobby Lobby, and I painted it with the same Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Now the transfer that I'm using I got off of Amazon and it's from Timeless Designs and it's called Botanical Paradise, and it's just all of these sweet little flowers. Now there's no two flowers that are the same in this transfer. So I just tried to, on this bottom part, to have something that was a little bit tall and then a little cluster and then something tall again, to just try to make it look as symmetrical as I could. And because I was transferring onto a round piece, sometimes I would kind of snip into the transfer, kind of like when you're sewing and you make a dart, and it just kind of helps ease it on. And then this is the top part of the candlestick. It's just like a little bulb up underneath it. And so actually, if you'll notice, I put 2 cans of paint on either side to hold it because it was kind of wiggling around too much. So once again, the transfers weren't the same, but I tried to do something that was long and then like a little cluster. Now I have not attached the top of the table to the base because I wanted to put the transfers on. And after I get it all finished, then I glue it on with Titebond glue. And so what I'm doing is I'm going through the different transfers and picking out florals that are in the same color. And I'm going to be putting them all around the edge. But because they weren't the same flower, what I ended up doing was putting more things in the middle of the base, and that really wasn't my intentions to begin with. I would just basically want it on the outer edge, but it just didn't look right without having something in the middle because the stems on the flowers were not the same. So when you look at it in a minute, you'll just look at it and see how I put it all together by putting some different things in the middle. And so remember, none of the flowers are exactly the same. But after I finished it, I liked it, but it was kind of hard to put together. And then here's what it looks like in the different parts. Oh, and down at the bottom, I just put some greenery. And that's what the top of it is. It's a pretty tall pedestal table. So I hope you like it. Now, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that and become part of our family at Farm Fresh Designs 59. Now, my next item, I want to give a big shout out to Angel Nicole. I'm going to link a video that she just did on a book that she turned into a vase. So I'm going to put that link in the description box, and I hope you'll go out and watch it because it's really cool. But before I saw her video, I saw this on Pinterest where you take a book and you open it up and you cut a hole in it, and you could make it into like a little jewelry box, or it could be a little place that you could hide your jewelry, or hide your little money stash or whatever. And so what I did was I took an older hardback book and I Mod Podged like the pages on the outside and all around it so that they would be really firm. And then I drew a rectangle inside, and then I took like this little cutter. It's kind of like a little razor, and I just kept cutting different pieces going down. I go around and I cut another couple pages and I pull those out, and then I just kind of kept going. And I promise I didn't cut myself. I was being careful, but I'm just speeding it up. And that's what it looks like. And so then I Mod Podged it again to make it really firm. And now I'm just going all around with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And I'm painting the entire inside of it. Now, if you decide to do this, just know it is going to make a mess. But in the end, I really did like it a lot. And I'm just trying to cover up all those raw edges by painting them white. And then I go ahead and seal it, and then I put on this transfer that's part of, it's called Memories of Paris, and it's made also by Timeless Designs. Now, because the edge going around the little square was kind of rough looking, I took just some really pretty white scallop lace, and I decided to hot glue it around the edge with the scallop facing out. Now, when I measured the lace, I thought I was going to have enough to go all the way around, but because I needed to angle at the corners, actually once I got started and I almost was around, that was when I realized I wasn't going to have enough lace. So I know that I needed to improvise at the end, so you can see what I come up with. And actually, it's really kind of strange. You would think that this would make the top kind of stick up a lot, but it really doesn't. And so you can kind of see what I do at the end. And so I pull that lace down and I pull it back up because I thought, well, maybe if I stretch it, then maybe it'll go all the way to the end. But, well, the lace didn't stretch. So I decided I needed to do something else. So I have this, I don't know if you want to call it lace, but I found it at Joann's Fabrics. And what it is, it's just like this strip. It looks like a ribbon, but it's really not. It's little pink flowers, and they're attached. And I just glued 3 on down at the bottom to kind of finish off that edge. And it really actually looks right pretty. And it looks like it was meant to be there. And once again, it doesn't make the top of it stick up. Now, this transfer is so beautiful. I got it off of Amazon, and it's made by a company called Get Inspired, and the name of it is Unspoken Bond. And it is so pretty. The colors are so vibrant. And this is just a little transfer, and it's got some little kittens on it. Now, this is maybe a darker color cottage core, but in my mind, it just kind of looked more that way. And then this is a stamp from the Redesign with Prima stamp set called I See Paris. And I stamped it with stone gray ink onto a napkin, and I'm just decoupaging it on with liquid patina. And you'll notice that I'm just taking a little piece of saran wrap to push it down so that it kind of pushes out the wrinkles. Now, this is a lock and key that I made with hot glue. And initially, I was going to hang it on a bow that I was going to have hanging on the front. But then I realized that it would look really neat on the side, so that it really did look like a little box that you could lock. And I made these from the iodine key mold, and I made it with hot glue, and I painted them white, and I used gold gilding wax on them. And then I like stapled a little hole. I'm sorry, not, I punched a little hole in them so that they could hang. And here's the final product. And I just think it's so sweet. So what do you think? And look at that little key lock. Isn't that really sweet on the side? And it's made out of hot glue, so when I attached it, I just attached it with hot glue. And that's what the inside looks like. So my next project is one of those kind of heavy cardboard boxes that you can find. A lot of times you'll see them at TJ Maxx, and you'll see them in like the stationery area. And so I went to the thrift shop and I saw this one, and I liked the shape of it. And it was taped down, and so when I picked it up, I realized that there was something inside of it, and there was a smaller one that matched it on the inside. So I just painted it with Dixie Belle buttercream, and I made sure to seal it so that this transfer would go on really well. And this is made by that same company called Get Inspired, and I just like that it's maybe darker cottage core colors. And it's in the shape of a heart, but it has all these beautiful flowers all around it and kind of little sprigs coming up the top. And I just think it's beautiful. So once I get it all put down, then remember that's when you take that plastic that you pull off and you kind of rub it on really good, and that's called burnishing it. Now I want to use the IOD Stone Gray ink. And this is a little stamp that I got off of Amazon, and it's like a little crackle finish. So as I'm stamping it onto the top of the box, I'm not stamping all over where the transfer is not. I'm just doing little spots here and there. And I don't always re-ink the stamp because I want it lighter in some spots. Then I take the top off, and I decided I was going to go ahead and do the crinkle finish down at the bottom. And so I do go ahead and ink up the whole stamp because I do want bigger spots at the bottom. Now, Lisa from Our Shabby Cottage, she uses these on a lot of her projects, and I think it's just so pretty, and it's just such a good way to finish off a project and to add that extra touch. And you know, these boxes, you can use them for storage, and a lot of people do stack them, but I think I'm actually going to hang on to this one. I'm not going to put this one in my vendor booth because I'm just going to put it back so that I can use it as a box to put a gift in later for a birthday gift for a friend or whatever. I just think it's really pretty the way it turned out. But I still want to add just a little bit extra to the top. So I have this really pretty lace that's really about the same color as the buttercream. And I just make sure you cut off that end to make sure it's got a clean finish. And then I just hot glue it all around the edges of the top. But isn't that so pretty? I think it's just so delicate looking. And it'll make a great extra gift for the gift that's going to be inside. Now, I thrifted this rack, I'm not real sure maybe a coat rack, at the thrift shop. And actually, the color that it was on it, I really liked it. It was a darker kind of turquoise blue, and it was really pretty. But because it had been banged up here and there, it wasn't going to work, and I didn't want to try to match the color. So this is Dixie Belle Sea Glass. And I love this color. And so I just paint the whole thing, and I even paint the little hooks. And this is a napkin, and it's got little birds on it, but it's got pretty little flowers on it that are pink, just in different spots. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking those pink flowers and tearing those off separately, and then I'm just going to put them in some little bunches all around in between those little hooks. Now, between the first hook and the second hook, I put more than I do on the very edge. And then on the next part, then I put a little bit more. But on those little teeny edges on each side, then I just I think I put 3 different flowers on that because I didn't want a whole bunch on that edge. Plus, there really wasn't a lot of room for it. And that's how it looks after I've decoupaged all these napkins on. and I'm using DIY liquid patina. Now, once it dries, I make sure that I go back and I put liquid patina over the entire thing, because if you don't, then you have that little shine that comes from decoupaging it on, and if you don't put liquid patina all over it, then you can kind of tell where you decoupaged it. And so this way you don't see those edges of the glue that you use. But I just think this is really sweet, and it would go really good in a little girl's room so she could hang her princess dresses from. But I thought this was a good color to go along with Cottage Core. Now this was kind of hard for me to make because it was hard for me to figure out exactly what Cottage Core is, because there's so many definitions of it. Now this, it looks a lot darker at the end. Now my last little project, I found this little dish at a thrift shop, and it had those same colors in it, and so I just bought it, and I had another little candlestick that was thrifted, and I just glued it on with Titebond, and it makes like a little jewelry holder. So friends, we are at the end of the video, and here are all the pieces. So today, leave me a comment and let me know what was your favorite one, and be really honest with me. Tell me, does this look like Cottage Core to you? It was kind of difficult because I'm so used to doing Shabby Chic that I wanted to do it justice because of this viewer. So for that viewer who requested this, make sure to tell me if this was something that you liked. And actually on Thursday, if everything goes well, I'm going to have part 2 of this video. So you'll have to make sure to be watching for that. But guys, thank you so much for all your support. My channel has grown unbelievably, and I just want to thank you so much for all your sweet comments. So what do you think? What's your favorite today? I can't really decide. It's kind of a mix between the picture and that little box. So make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great week.